it kind of boggles my mind. The things that we had when I was younger that are obsolete now, and when I tell people about it today, they look at me like, nah, that can't be. No, you didn't have to crank a car to get it started. Yes, I did. We had to, when we wanted to make a phone call, there was a person that said, number, please? And we had to tell her the number that we wanted to get. Also, we had a party line. I also had an ice box. Well, my mom and dad had an ice box. I was a little girl. And I remember the iceman coming up to the second floor with the ice being held by an ice pick on his shoulder, and he put it in the compartment that held the ice. People can't believe that. My grandparents were immigrants from Russia, Poland. My mother was from London. They came here and couldn't wait to become citizens. They didn't want to be called foreign at all. In fact, my mother kept saying, I'm not foreign, I'm from the mother country. She was from London, the mother country. My dad had a kind of cool sense of humor. I have 7 grandchildren, 4 of whom are biracial, and all of the grandkids are different but wonderful. I enjoy them immensely. One of my grandparents was a rabbi, and he had a long beard, a long white beard. I didn't understand him too well because they spoke Yiddish. That was my father's father. And he was a rabbi, spoke Yiddish. My grandmother spoke Yiddish. They spoke to their dog in Yiddish. Their dog understood Yiddish. If you told the dog to sit in English, didn't know what you were talking about. If you said "Zetz," he sat. But they were lively. They were really lively. I had a great-great-grandfather that lived to be past 100. He was a little man, and he smoked like a chimney, but he lived past 100. And my mother's parents had an interesting life, too. My grandfather wanted to become a chicken farmer and bought land in Michigan. But the land that he bought in Michigan was very close to the lake, where there are a lot of resorts. And it became a summer resort town in South Haven, Michigan. And he turned his chicken farm into a resort. In fact, the year I was born was the year the swimming pool opened up, which he built. He said, if we don't have the lakefront, I'm going to give the resorters a swimming pool. And so he built a swimming pool. And that's where I learned how to swim, and that's my memories of South Haven with the apple orchards, peach orchards, vineyards. Every summer I was at the resort, and we ran around and climbed trees and jumped and hopped. We had a huge playground with a teeter-totter and rings and trapeze bars and swings, and I did all that stuff. I used to hang from my knees on the trapeze, and there was a horse and 2 cows. I worked as a waitress, yeah. I had 2 marriages. But men my age are way too old for me. Way too old for me. But I was married for 22 years the first time and had 2 wonderful children. That was a wonderful thing, and I learned a lot. It was a different time. It was a different time where society dictated how you should live your life, and I went along with the times. I had no business being married when I got married. I was too young. I didn't know what end was up. But that's what people did back in the day. And my second marriage, I guess I was needy at the time. But that, too, was a learning experience. I moved to Cincinnati with that marriage, and I grew up in Cincinnati. There I learned to be independent. I learned that I could do things. and gained confidence in myself. And then when I left Cincinnati and moved to Los Angeles, moved in with my sister, and that too was a learning experience about myself, and with the help of my son, who urged me, my son Randy, who urged me to, Mom, you got to get out of here. And he found my first apartment, which was a little bungalow in Studio City, which back in the day was used by the studios. I don't like old people. I don't like old people. But you can be old at 20. You know, it's your thinking. You know, if you're stuck in a certain, and with a certain mindset, you're old. You have to expand your mind, open up your thinking. You know, be open to new ideas and new ways of being. The whole purpose of life is to live it and to enjoy it while you're living. And how are you able to enjoy it if you're not healthy? So health is very important. Keeping your limbs limber, walking, doing exercises, working, keeping your mind active and agile and expanded, new thoughts, new ideas, new ways of being. And sometimes I get down on myself because sometimes I can veg out all day and then it depresses me. You know, if I don't take a walk, even when I'm working at AJU, rather than take the elevator, I take the stairs.
Go.
Give a yell. Give a yell. Give a good substantial yell. And then the yell like hell. And this is what the yell. Kick him in the kishkas, kick him in the piskas. Yay! Intro! Too much internet, too much Facebook. People don't know how to talk to each other anymore. And too much is put out there. I don't care if you washed your hair and it came out crappy. I don't give a fuck. I mean, that's what you post, and that's what they post. Oh, God. This inane... And then people comment on it yet? Who cares what other people think or say about you? Lead your life. Be happy. Hello.
So what we're talking about here is the body bubby.
The body bubby.
Body.
The body
Super body.
bubby.
Super body.
Who's our grandma?
She's a bubby.
And say, my body bubby.
She's my bubby.
My grandma.
She's my bubby.
And the reason this is important for everybody to know is because she's a body bubby.
Booby booby.
A body bubby.
A booty bobby. You're a booby body.
And she's got all these things that she wants to
I like that
impart
body.
knowledge to her grandchildren.
Right.
Which is Ryan.
Tell me about the golden.
He is our stand-in grandchild.
Okay.
Standing grandchild.
Stand-in.
Except the
You're
one
the
that's sitting.
stand-in
Oh,
grand-
stand-in.
Right. You're the
The-
you're the representative.
The true stand-in's talking
The
right now.
representative grandson.
A representative
grandchild.
Fair enough.
The
Good, 'cause I'm a granddaughter,
now,
I'm not.
how
So
does it
Ryan,
start?
what is the weirdest story that's in your hands?
There's some crazy shit here. Let's
Well-
just be real. I was out of money, and I hit up the bubby, and I said, "You remember this?" When I asked
remind
you
me.
I asked you, I need to buy that $600 piece of car, and I was like, I don't have any money, and I said, "Bubby,
Yeah.
can you hook a brother up?" And you said, "Yeah."
Oh,
you said you had to go to the bank. We had to go to the bank. You remember what I'm saying?
I remember we had to go to the bank
Yeah.
that time.
Yeah.
But you know what? I can't. I have to get the money out, and I don't know how to do it. I mean, I don't. You know, I don't believe in guns. Guns out.
This is a debit card.
I don't have a debit card. I just want them to give me the money.
But
I know. I'm not taking it out of my account. They have to give me the money from that bank.
But you didn't have an account at the bank?
No!
And
I'm gonna rob the
What
bank.
the fuck?
Don't you
That's
get
where
it?
you
I'm
got the
gonna
$600.
I'm
Holy
gonna
shit.
get, yeah, and I
How'd you
went
rob
in.
it?
Well, because I don't believe in guns. So how am I gonna get them to give me the money?
I don't know.
I know. I'm gonna threaten to
Uh.
take all my clothes off unless they give me that
my
money.
God.
And you know what? They were so scared about that. They gave me the money.
Jesus. I'm gonna sell my car right now.
I want to go to Chicago, and I don't want to be in the suburbs. I want to be in my city. And so my son and the rest of the kids got together, and they went online. And I said, I want to rent someplace, a house where we could all be together. And I don't care, but I just wanted to be in the city. And so we did.
Give a yell. Give a yell. Give a good substantial yell. And then we yell like hell, and this is what we yell. Kick him in the kish-kiss, punch him in the piss-kiss. Yay! Old age.
My family was always filled with music. My dad loved music. He knew all the popular songs of the day. When we rode in the car, we always sang. And my father taught me World War I songs, and he knew the Joe Stafford, she was a singer, and Patti Page, and Frank Sinatra, and Bing Crosby. And growing up, I sang all the time. And then when I got married and started to raise a family, I became active in a woman's group, a charity group, and they put on plays. I used to be shy, believe it or not. I was at one time. But one of the women in the group said, Ellie, I remember you singing. You could sing in this show that we're putting on. And that was the beginning of my stage career. I sang in that show, and from there we used to put on parody shows. And from there, we went to book shows, and I think the first show we put on was Guys and Dolls. I wanted to be Adelaide because that was the funner part, but they wanted me to do Sarah Brown, so okay, I did Sarah Brown. But in a subsequent production of Guys and Dolls, a couple of years later, I got my wish and became Adelaide. I loved acting. I mean, I loved, just give me a script and let me be a character, and I loved to do that. And so I joined a professional acting class in Chicago. And in the beginning, I was in the amateur class because he had several levels of classes. And when I did, I don't remember, it might have been the scene from Anastasia. And after the scene was over, he said, Ellie, you're going into the Monday night class, which was the professional class. So he put me into the professional class, and I took acting classes, and I loved it. I did community theater that was on a professional level. I did some pretty good theater. They were two young guys. We did a singing thing. We did all kinds of standards. Piano player, and one of the other young men was a tap dancer. I still have my tap shoes. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I'm not going to sing. Every night you'll hear her croon a Russian lullaby. Just a little plaintive tune when baby starts to cry. Rock-a-bye, my baby. Somewhere there may be a land that's free for you and me, and a Russian lullaby.